Hello, everyone, and welcome to Become Your Best Consulting Training on Social Selling. I'm excited that everyone is attending, and I'm going to be waiting for people to drop in, but we'll get started in about a second in regards to social selling. The reason why I chose this course in particular is the reason is there's a lot of sales professionals talking about what's the best strategy and what's the best way for me to go out and prospect and get business. Do I still go cold call? Do I go door knocking? What strategy do I use? And there's a lot of talk about social selling, everybody being on social platforms. So I thought to myself, why not create a course here? Why not go live? Why not let the world know a little bit more about social selling? So I just thought, put this course together. This is my very second time. So it's only the second time going live. So technical difficulties, something happens like that, just bear with me, you all. This is some great training. Social selling is probably the most popular way of prospecting in sales. So if you want to pay attention, take some notes, get comfortable. We're going to have, if you have any questions or want to repeat anything, please feel free to go into the comment section and input some information, and I'll be looking at that throughout the training. Let's get started here. So in this course, in this training here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be talking about a couple of topics here. So I'm going to give you an agenda so that way you know what we're going to be talking about and you know what we're going to be, going through. So first off, I'm going to be talking a little bit about what is social selling. What's social selling about? What's all this hype about social selling? Then I'm going to talk about social prospecting. I'm going to talk about where to go, how to find your people, how to find your avatar customers. Then I'm going to talk about build your brand. This is important, all. This is very important. When it comes to building your brand, this is your brand recognition. This is showing everybody who you are out there, putting a brand presence so that way they know who they're dealing with. The most important part about building a brand, building your presence, whatever you're trying to do as far as putting your voice out there, speaking to people, putting out your brand, the most important thing is to tell everybody your story. Tell everybody what you've been through, not just your successes, but also your failures. What have you gone through? What have you been through as far as life, and why do people want to attract to you? Why do people, should they listen to you? Why should they follow you? What do you have special? And that's by telling your story in regards to where you've been, what you failed on, but now how you succeeded, and now how you want to help out others do the same. The most importantly, I'm going to talk about building relationships. It's just like friendships, just like families. Whenever you're trying to build a relationship, you just need to talk to one another. You need to get to know each other. You need to get to be able to grow and talk and have fun and laugh, all that good stuff, right? That's the same thing when you're building your brand, when you're building your name out there in the world, right? You just want to be authentic, let people know who you are, what you're about. And the best way to do that is just to build genuine relationships. So let's get started here now. So, what is social selling? Social selling is using social media channels, and this could be TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever platform that you use when you on your daily use, right? What you're most comfortable with. This is where you're comfortable at. This is, you use this platform to generate leads, sales, build relationships one-on-one with these customers. So social selling is basically just interacting with people on social platforms. So for instance, if you're a real estate, just interact as a real estate on social platforms. Get people to know that you're a real estate agent in your community, right? If you sell cars in your community, let them know who you are. So it's basically putting yourself out there on social platforms and finding your customers. So using the social technology, the platforms to find customers, the new technology, the new way, right? All right. So basically TikTok, LinkedIn, anytime that you go out there and you put post, you don't really know who's going to see it. You may not even get response, but that's fine. That's okay. What's going to happen by putting your information out there is you're going to start building a foundation. You're going to start building trust out there. You're going to start building a reputation as an industry expert by everything that you put out there. So all of the posts, all the comments, all of the engagement, it's all going to build a solid foundation for you at the end. So once again, do not be discouraged if you don't see post likes. Just go out there, continue to post, continue to put your name out there. So once again, this takes time. This takes a lot of energy, and it's not going to happen overnight. So once again, you must put in the time, energy, and effort to build your name. The best way to do this is basically just to go out on social platforms, find out which platform you're best with, and then put your name out there. Put your best effort to put your name, your brand, your story, all that on the platform as consistently as you can. So let's talk about social prospecting here. So everybody's on social platforms, right? If you're at a restaurant and you're eating, everybody's either on LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, right? While they're waiting for their food. This is just standard now. We're always having something to keep our minds busy. And most of them is being on social platforms, social networks, right? Engaging, talking to friends and family. So what you have to do now is in order to build your brand, and if you're trying to build business or get sales overall on social platforms, you need to figure out where are your targeted audience, your avatar customers. Where are they hanging out? Where are they congregating at? Where are they spending their most of their time at? On which platform? Where are they talking? Where are they engaging? Where are they asking questions? That's the main thing you want to find is where are they hanging out and asking questions? They're looking for guidance. They're looking for information. And this is where you want to be. As an expert, whatever you do, whatever you're trying to build your followers, build your brand, you need to find this and then find that platform and then just engage with them. You need to prospect throughout those platforms to find them, though. It's not easy. You're going to have to find out which platform works for you. Many different social platforms, many different people on different platforms. So this takes a lot of time and energy to search for your particular customers. So once again, just try different platforms, try out different strategies on these platforms, whatever it takes to engage. If it's taking pictures, if it's writing content, if it's putting an audiogram, if it's creating a video, whatever type of format that you could use to put your name out there and prospect, use it to your advantage. Use technology to your advantage. Pictures, audio, visual, any type of way that you could get yourself in front of people. It's the best way to do it. Continue. Repetition is key here. So it makes sense when you're trying to, find prospects on these sites, right? They're there. They're always on social platforms. We're always looking for guidance. We're looking for places to go, recommendations. Who do I go see? Where do I find this? So this is where if you're on those platforms, you're able to give this input. You're able to provide valuable information. So once again, you just need to be around these platforms, spend time around them, and then just engage, just build your presence on there. So once again, here's a little, just a little picture here, a little video that, just spends time. You got to engage. When you're on social platforms, the most important thing to do is to engage. Engage with your customers. Engage with them on posts that they have. Engage with them on videos, on photos that they have. Anything that they use to be able to put themselves out there, engage with them. Show that you're paying attention to them. Most of all, let's talk about something exciting here, building your brand. This is the most important part when you're trying to do social selling, right? Everybody knows about the know, like, and trust, right? Who do I work with? Who do I know? Where do I go, right? So the only way to build your brand presence is either I got to know you, like you, or trust you. And this takes a lot of time. And the best way, or the main way to do this is to establish your brand first. And this is to use social platforms, right? Like Facebook here. You need to build a business page on Facebook outside of your personal page. Let me repeat that again. You want to build a Facebook business page to build industry expert and show that you're authority in that industry, right? By putting out written content, video content, audio content, explaining different situations, scenarios that customers go through in your industry. By doing this, what happens is people see you as the expert by all the valuable information that you're providing. Free valuable information daily. Make sure you're putting out valuable content, weekly videos, blogs, right? Anything that you could do, once again, to put yourself out in front of the audience, in front of the people, is the most important thing that you could do. And that all starts off by establishing your brand presence. And that's by putting your name out there. What you want to do is also you want to build social media presence, right? You want to be able to people to go to social media and then just find you, right? And that's by, you being present on there. You being on social platforms, continue to put out information. This is important because within platforms, information gets uploaded quickly on these platforms, quickly. So the easiest way to build brand awareness and trust is to continue to put out this information at a fast pace. Because remember that timelines continue to update all the time. So what happens is any post that you will put out there will continue to go through the timeline. So once again, as much as you could put out, as frequent as you can, it would be the best thing that you could do to build your brand and then build social media presence. So let's talk about creating what type of content you could create, right? You could even do content. This is short form, long form, and this would be telling the story, right? Customer scenario, situation. Or you could also create a video, do a how-to video on teaching them how you can, you know, do a certain project, how you could do a certain task, how you could create a certain strategy or system. Anything that you could show how to create something, how to do something, you have people that will be interested in. When they go to Google, when they go into Facebook, a lot of times they're looking for how to do something, right? So the best way to do is to create content that's out there, that you could put out there and that will be out there forever. Video here, and I chose this video image because video itself is very important. Let's say you create a video now, 2022. This video is going to be around forever on YouTube. It's not going anywhere. So whenever somebody wants to search on a how-to video, they could easily find your information. So once again, video content will be around for a very, very long time when it comes to your content. So create video content, audio content, something that will stick around and that people could search around and look for many years to come, not just, short term, right? Building relationships here. This is all part of social selling. This is one of the most important parts of social selling here. So we talked about how you could build your brand, right? You go out there, you put yourself out as the industry expert. You show everybody who you are, what you do. And then you do a nice profile, right? You have all your brand presence out. And now it's time for you to go on social platforms, to go into groups and forums, to start finding your customers, finding out where they're hanging out, right? So now we got to figure out, okay, we found the customers. We found where they're at. We hear the questions that they're asking. Now we're answering those questions. Now, what do I do next? The best and the most important thing to do here is to build that customer or prospect relationship. This happens by always being there. They're on there active. So if they have a certain situation that they're going through, be the first person to respond to that question, challenge, struggle. Show your expertise at this time in that you know what they're talking about. You helped out other people in that same situation, or you have a product or service just for them, right? Be the first person to respond. That's always the most important thing, is to be the first person. They say that, if they don't hear from somebody, they're going to move on, right? They're going to look on another page. They're going to go onto another site, another platform. They're going to try to figure out and find somebody that can help them, right? They're going to go and search. So once again, why not let it be you? So be on the platforms, be active on there. There's a lot of ways that you could start to build customer relationships, right? One of them is for you to create a newsletter, for you to put your information on there, and then for you to collect emails, right? Emails from people that are interested in your information, a newsletter, a blog, something that you could provide valuable information, and they could always be notified when you have new content. So what happens is you put out this newsletter sign up, you put out a blog sign up form, you collect all this information, and then you could keep in touch with your followers, the people that are truly interested in what you offer, your product or service. Whatever you offer and that customer is interacting with you, that's somebody you want to keep in touch with. That's somebody you want to build a relationship with. So the best thing to do is collect their contact information and then keep in touch with them periodically. Once in a while, always reach out to them. Let them know what you have that's new, the latest and greatest, what's coming up, what's new in your industry, what's exciting, right? They're happy when you keep in touch with them. They feel special, and everybody wants to feel special. So once again, just keep in touch with them and always keep them in the loop on what you have that's new. If not, listen to this, everyone. If you do not keep in touch and build these relationships, someone else will. The competition will find a way in there. They're doing the same exact strategy that I'm talking about and trying to build relationships on groups, forums, social platforms to try to fill their funnel, right? Fill their pipeline, try to get new customers. So you must be out there. You must be present when you're trying to do social selling, when you're trying to build your brand, when you're trying to build relationships. You have to be present. You have to put yourself out there. You have to be out there. And that's the easiest way. Once they start seeing you, and periodically, once they start seeing you, advertisements, videos, the only thing that they're going to remember is continue to see you. Now, everybody works at different time frames. Everybody's going to need help or going to need a service at a different time. So the best thing to do is to always be out there, so in front of mind. So when it's time, when they need that product or service, when they need information, they remember you. You're the first person they see when they open up their social platform, right? They remember you talking about that particular service, product, all of that. Now, there's a lot of different ways, right? I always talk about prospecting, how you reach customers, how can I get a hold of them? The easiest way here would be on, Messenger, right? On Facebook, to be able to reach them through Messenger. So building a Facebook business page that we talked about earlier would give you the ability to have a messenger, right? A ability for followers, customers, prospects to reach out to your business page via Messenger, and for you to be able to respond to them via Messenger. So that would be interacted through the Messenger app, through Facebook. So once again, that's one of the ways to do it. Another way would be for you to connect, right? To send a direct message to the Facebook person, and then you try to connect with them, and then you would be able to communicate with them as a friend, right? But the best way to do it is to try to figure out through the groups that I mentioned earlier, because these are the people that you want to, these are the ones that already are looking for help. These are the ones that already need what you have to offer, right? They're already looking for solutions online. They already have a problem. They already have a challenge or a struggle. Now they're just looking for someone to help them. They're just looking for someone to guide them, to lead them in the right direction. Why not let that be you? So once again, social selling is probably the easiest way, right? We talked about many different ways, of prospecting. We talked about the old way of picking up the telephone, right? Picking up the telephone call and calling a complete stranger and making that cold call, right? The fear of making that cold call is very hard. So if you're trying to sell your product or service and you want to go up and pick up the phone to go and dial and make calls to customers that you don't know, is one of the hardest sales strategies to gain business. So why not use technology to your advantage? Use social platforms, Messenger, where it's more easier for them to contact you directly and you to contact them directly, not through a phone message, not through a call. Yes, sales coach, I'm a trainer, so cold calling is still effective, but you need to find multiple ways to find business. You need to find multiple streams of getting in leads, of getting people to see you, of getting customers to call you, of getting people to have presence on you. And that's by trying multiple forms of communication. It could be text, email. You also want to have an email strategy, right? You want to have emails, templates that you could send, quick ones that you could send when somebody's interested. Take a look at Messenger. You could add responses on there. You could add emails on there. All of this is used through these platforms. If one of the things that I could bring up as far as social selling is the technology that we have nowadays, the technology that we could use, and the technology that we have nowadays to be able to connect. This is huge. We didn't have this before. We didn't have the ability to be able to use so many different platforms. It was old school calling on the phone or going door knocking, door to door, and trying to gain business. So now with technology out there, use it to your advantage. Use these platforms. Use technology. Stay relevant out there. Use as many platforms as you can, right? I want to talk a little bit about newsletters and blogs and writing content. I'm pretty big on writing content, whether it be short form or long form. And let me tell you one of the reasons why. In social selling, once again, it talks about building your brand, your recognition, and all of that. So by using short form and long form content, being able to tell stories, tell customer situations, scenarios, things that they've been through in their life, and you've been able to help them. Let me repeat that again. In the short form, long form content that you create, these posts that you put out there, articles, newsletters, blog, you want to tell a story that you've been through. Tell a story that your customer's been through. Tell a story of your customer scenario, situation, and what they went through and how you were able to help them. So by providing content, valuable content, you're able to provide information that people could go and read, that they could go back to and review later on. That's important. All of this information that I talked to you about, the video, the content, the audio, this is all important for brand building because all of this information is going to be around for a very, very long time, especially the audio and video. Think about YouTube. If you go on there, you could find videos from the early 2000s and they're still up with hundreds of thousands of views, some of them millions. So you always want to make sure you're putting out content out there. It could be written, it could be audio, it could be video content. Any content that it is, it's going to be helpful in the long run. They're going to be able to go back. They'll be able to search it. And the easiest way to find this out is when you go to Google and you're doing a Google search and you're trying to find content, you're trying to find how to do something. A lot of time this content will pop up. If you try this out and take a look at this later on, go to Google and try to find how to write a letter, and you'll find a video, you'll find a podcast, and many different forms of content on how to do that. So once again, you want to be that person putting out content in regards to your industry, your expertise, what you do, how you help people in your story. So that way it could be on the internet, on the social web, on the social platforms, and anytime anybody's looking for a product, a service, and it's what you do, you want to be shown, you want to have your presence. So once again, that takes time, but once again, you got to provide that out there, free, valuable content. Let's talk a little bit more about telling your story here. This is very important when it comes to building your brand recognition, selling on social platforms, social selling in general. If you tell your authentic story, you tell truly who you are and what you do. You tell people that you love to help them, serve, and be a helping hand. You show everyone who you are and what you do. The most important part here, and I want to highlight, is just be your authentic, true self. Be you. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that you be you, because you're going to be able to communicate. You're going to be able to answer questions. And most importantly, you're going to be able to be yourself when you have communication and you're conversating. That's important. There's many times that you will be on the phone with somebody, you'll talk to somebody, and the conversation is so robotic. The conversation sounds so unauthentic, right? It sounds like they're reading a script. It sounds like they're reading something off of a paper, right? That shows when you're hearing it, when you're listening to it, or when you're even seeing it. So once again, it's important to be your authentic self. It's important to tell your true story, who you are. It's the easiest thing to tell where you've been, the failures that you have been through. And then you tell your successes. But you're going to tell them how you build the bridge from that gap, from where you were. You were struggling. You were going through challenges. You were going through failures. And then you try to figure out, how could I get out of here? How could I change? How could I get better? How do I get from point A to point B, right? How do I get there? How do I get better? So once again, that's the story you want to tell. That's what you want to share with your people. That's what you want to display out there when you're selling your product service. You want to show why you're doing this, why you know that you could help others, because you've been there. You've gone through all this. You've been through the trenches. You've been through the challenges. You've been through the turndowns. You've been through the no's. You've been through the letdowns. You've been through all of that, all of those situations. You've been through every single one. And now you just want to help out others that are in that same situation. So that's why telling your story is so important. People that are in the same situation, people that are going through the same challenges and struggles, they're looking for the answers. They're looking for someone to go to. They're looking for help. So who knows what your story could do. Who knows what your story who could impact, how many people it would reach, right? But you will never know until you tell that story, until you put yourself out there and tell them who you are. And this is so helpful when you're social selling, because people could go back to your profile. They could go back to what you do. They could go back to what you post about. They could go back to what you say. And all of this is social proof. Let me repeat that again. This is all social proof. We're talking social selling here. So the most important thing to do is have social proof, right? Who is this person? What do they do? Are they good at what they do? And the only way to show this and the only way to display that is to have that presence, right? If you want to sell your product or service and you're reaching out to people, it's important to have this presence, because they are going to search for you. Believe me, they are going to search for you. Imagine when you're talking to someone over the phone. Imagine when you're going to a place, you're going to do business, you're going to go find something. The first thing you do is look on your phone, look under recommendation, you look under reviews, you try to figure out who you're going to go see. Who's this person I'm going to go talk to? Who's this person I'm going to go deal with, right? It's all done on social platforms. It's all done in the internet, right? Everything's out there. It's the first place you're going to do to go look for somebody. So once again, it's important that you be authentic, tell your story, and it's going to allow your customers and your followers to feel personally connected to you. They're going to feel as though they know who you are. They're going to feel as though they've known you for a long time. Think about that. They're going to feel as though that they understand you. They know you because they hear your stories. They know your pains and challenges and struggles that you went through. So that all starts off by telling them your journey, telling them your stories. And there's something that you want to do also is, if you learn something, if you learned your talent, your skill, if you learn that, if you put in the time and the energy to read books, to go through courses, to listen to audios, and now you're a master in what you do, real estate, car sales, technology, right? Anything that you're involved with, any type of sales that you're doing, you're on this social selling platform. You're listening to this here, so you want to get new customers. You want new followers, right? So if you learn something, tell them how you learned that, or tell them how you earned it. Be proud of what you've done. Be proud of the accomplishment, the achievement, the award, the certificate, the trophy. Whatever you achieved, be proud of that. Display it, show it, talk about it. Most importantly, talk about it. Be proud of it. Go on Facebook, show your certificate, post your trophy, post your accomplishment, your award. Let others know that you're doing everything in your ability to become the best you, to become the best version that you can become, to master your skills, so that way you could be a better you. That's important. Not many people spend the time and energy to go out there and to become a better version of themselves. So be happy about that. Be proud of that. And I also am proud of you. It takes a lot for you to take out time, energy out of a busy day for you to go far and beyond to self-educate yourself, to self-develop, right? To learn more, to become better. I want to spend a little bit of time on this here because this is important to me here. You know, it takes a lot to be able to become better. You know, a lot of people go through challenges and struggles and failures in sales and in business and opening up a new store, opening up a new business, trying to build a new brand, trying to design new clothes, trying to put music out there, trying to produce. Anything that you're trying to do to try to build your name out there, to put yourself out there, right? It takes a lot of hard work. And if you accomplish something in life and you accomplish something, it doesn't matter if anybody else pats you on the back. It doesn't matter if anybody else congratulates you. You need to be proud of you for accomplishing that. That's huge for you to spend your time, energy, right, to become a better you. So be proud of your accomplishments. Be proud of what you've earned, right? There's a lot of different ways, right? Did you learn it or did you earn it? How did you go through it, right? Either way, you've done it. You're better at what you do, and now you're ready to teach the world. So don't be afraid to tell them what you've done. Don't be afraid to tell your story on where you came from. Do not be afraid to tell your failures, the obstacles, the challenges, the struggles. Don't be afraid to put that out there because that's you. Remember, we talked about the authentic self. There's successes, but there has to be failures. Nobody's not gonna win all the time. Even the best of the best lose. So once again, be proud of who you are. Be proud of what you've done. Be proud of what you accomplish. Be your authentic self. So I want to talk a little bit about here. I found these stats on Google, and you could take a look at these here. These are something that's easily searchable. So once again, it's sales leaders chart, and this is stats that were done in regards to salespeople that are using social platforms to target, to do exactly what we're talking about in this training here, this live event. We're talking about the ability to be able to go on social platforms to build your brand, to join groups and forums, and to go and prospect. All of that together on the social platform is a huge advantage if you know how to do it right. So these are the stats on the people that are using technology to their advantage here. So I'm going to start off with the first one here. So it says that 45% of social selling leaders are creating 45% more opportunities than their peers that are not using social selling. So once again, let me repeat this one more time. Social selling leaders, people that are using social selling on Facebook, are creating 45% more opportunities than their peers, coworkers that are not doing this. 45%. That is almost 50% there. Now let's talk about the middle section here. 51%. Wow. Social selling leaders are 51% more likely to reach quota. Let's look at that one more time here. 51% of social selling leaders are most likely to reach quota. That is a huge number there. So once again, these strategies that we talked about, finding them on social platforms, connecting with them, networking with them, is giving you a 51% more chance to reach quota. Salespeople out there, look at that number. 51% more likely to reach quota if you're using social selling to prospect, build relationships. You must write that stuff down. Write that information down. That's important right there. We all, in sales, quota, hitting numbers, quota attainment. I'm going to keep that number right there for a while. Quota attainment is one of the hardest things to do as a salesperson. You know what I'm talking about, sales professionals? Hitting quota is one of the hardest things to do. This stat is showing that 51% more likely by using social selling to hit your quota. So if you are not using Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter to market yourself, brand yourself, and to bring new followers and business in, jump on it now. Start learning more. Go back and listen to this video or take more social selling training, right? The more experience you can get on how to do this process of social selling, it's going to be better for your quota. There's the number right there. Now let's look at the last number here. Here we go. 78% of social sellers outsell their peers who don't use social media to sell. Let's look at that again. 78% of social sellers outsell peers who don't use social media. These numbers, if you look across the board, 45%, 51%, 78%, these numbers are high. These are some high numbers by just using one new strategy to build and fill your funnel, your pipeline, right? To get new business. This number here, take a screenshot of this if you didn't already. You use these numbers, remember these numbers, put this on your board, print it out. Know that if you use a strategy that can increase your numbers to what you're already doing, it's only going to help you get better. So once again, that would be social selling. So, we went through a lot here on social selling. We're 36 minutes in. So I also want to, go through this. I'll go back and I want to open it up to, the chat because, with this training here, I wasn't able to to also have myself shown here, so it's more of a presentation. But now I want to slow down and go ahead and go back. And if anybody has any questions or wants to go back to a certain section, you could put it in the comment section. And what I'll do is I'll try to go back uh, to the couple sections so we can look at it. And if anybody wants to go back and talk about a certain section, a certain area, I'd be happy to do so. Let's go back here. So once again, social selling, it's one of the newest and greatest ways of sales strategies to go out there and, put yourself out there. It doesn't really matter what you do. There's many different industries. There's many different, industries. There's many different things that people are trying to do out there, right? Whether it be music, if you are putting out a clothing line, if you're a real estate agent, car salesman, you're selling computer technology, alarm industry, you know, uh, any type of industry, it does not matter. What happens is everybody's out on social media right now. Everybody's on social platforms. Everybody has questions and concerns, especially with these businesses nowadays, right? So many businesses, went under. So many people want to restart their business, right? So I really hope this helped out people that are wanting to open up their business or get a business started or trying to grow their business. The reason why I put this course together, right? It's so important that, nowadays everybody being, on social media, online, there's not many people in the malls anymore. There's not many people in the stores anymore. Everybody's on social platforms. So now you need to build your presence on social platforms. So it's important that you put yourself out there. It's important to tell your story, and most of all, just be authentic. Let everybody know who you are. All of these strategies that we went through, it takes time. I just want to let you know that this is not something that happens overnight. This is definitely not something that, you just go through and then all of a sudden everybody knows who you are, right? Doesn't happen that easily. I wish it did, but it doesn't. It takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, to be able to put yourself out there, put your name out there and then build your recognition, build brand presence, trust, all of that. It takes a lot to be able to do that. But once again, if you're doing what you love to do, if you're following your passion and your purpose, it's easy because all you're doing is telling your stories. All you're doing is telling what you've been through, what you've gone through, the challenges, the struggles, and how you've overcome those, how you overcame the path you went through, the journey that you went through for that. It's not that hard when you're really telling who you are and what you do, right? And if you want to, be successful long term and you're looking to do this for long term, not just short term, right? The most important thing to do here is that very last bullet point there, right? Build relationships. This is important when you're doing social selling. This can't be done overnight. You need to build relationships. You need to build your name. You need to start now and then you need to continue it for. It could be years till you build your name. It could happen in months. Nobody knows. There's so many changes on these platforms, right? There's so many changes that happen within social media that, man, you can't really judge it. It's changing daily. So you basically got to, keep with it, keep at it, continue to go. So that's what I could talk about as far as, putting it together and going for it and, using social selling to your advantage. But this is the newest and greatest way. If you're looking at filling your funnel, if you're looking at building your pipeline, if you're looking at a new way to help you reach quota, you've seen those numbers earlier. So if any of those you're trying to do, you're trying to put yourself out there, you're trying to build your name, build your brand, sell yourself, sell your product, service, social media, social platforms, people are out there. Oh, wait a minute here. Let's talk a little bit more about groups and forums on that social prospecting part because let me go here. So with groups and forums, the easiest way to do is to go into Facebook and just search Facebook, right, in the top section and look for the group that you need to find, right? So if you're a real estate agent, you want to find real estate groups, car dealerships, car dealership groups. Whenever you find that group, that's the group that you want to be involved with. That's the group that you want to interact with. that's the group that you want to engage with and build your presence with. So find the group, find them, engage, build your presence on there, build your brand on there, and build your recognition on there. Let's go here. Let me see if I got anything on here. All right, let's go here. So once again, building your brand, many different ways to post through all of your social platforms. And then the secondary way would be for you to write, for you to create audio content. That would be, podcast, uh, short little audiograms. And then the third one would be for you to have a video content, right? Courses, YouTube channel for you to be able to put out video content. So each one of those will work with you. And then basically just use that content to your advantage, put it out there. Remember what I said about, videos and content itself is that stays out there for a very long time when it comes to, creating content and putting it out there. It doesn't disappear at all. Basically out there. So once again, keep at it. So once again, let's go here. All right, I'm going to go here, just talk to you about this here. So once again, I only had 60 minutes, so this is a short time here to be able to go on here and talk about social selling and how to build your brand and how to engage in groups and prospect and networking and relationships, right? So much to go through in such a short time. This is so much to cover. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting together a 2-hour social selling training, and this would be more in depth. So what I would be going through is I'll be taking time to be able to go through actual Facebook itself, talking about the actual profile picture, the banner, the background, how to, build your presence on there, what to put, what type of content. Also go over some stats showing you how to post, what to post. So getting more in depth into how to build your brand. So it goes more in depth into the processes and how to do it, right? This is so much I had to go through it in a time frame to be able to breeze through it and figure out, okay, how am I going to squeeze so much information into this in 60 minutes? Not even that, 45 minutes, right? So I went through it, but there's so much to learn here when it comes to social selling. You've seen those numbers. Go onto YouTube, figure it out, look at it, look into it. It's the newest way to go out there and build your brand and to find followers, fill your funnel, get more sales, whatever your goal and mission is. Look at social selling. Everyone's out there. Everybody's on social media. So once again, it's something for you to put in there. You still must use multiple forms of communication to try to find customers, but social selling's one. So once again, 2-hour trainings go in depth into building a brand. That would be the first hour. It would talk about building your profile, building your Facebook business page, putting together the format, putting together the design, and that way you'll have your business Facebook page, putting it together to build your brand. The second portion, we're going to talk about the groups, the forums. I'm going to show you how to join groups, the interaction with groups, how you get feedback, how to engage, and all of that. So once again, overall at the end of the training, you will know exactly what to do with social selling, know exactly how to use social selling to once again build your followers, build your brand, and most importantly, gain new customers and close more business. So once again, this is an early bird promo. On here on the screen, I have the site to be able to sign up. And then also the first 50 signups will receive a $50 discount, and that is social selling. Early bird promo would be to get the $50 off. Here is the site to be able to take a screenshot of that, and you could be able to join that. So once again, first come, first serve. Once it's full, it's full. But this would be 2 hours of in-depth social selling training. Once again, this is the newest and greatest way to build your business. So once again, my name is Ralph Balchin. I'm founder of Become Your Best Consulting, and I really enjoyed your time here and being with us here. I'm also going to go here so you could have our contact information. And once again, we have other videos, we have podcasts, So take a look at us on Become Your Best Consulting. We provide many different sales training. So if you need help with sales training, if you need help with building relationships, if you need help with customers, if you need help with building your brand, take a look at us. Find us on social media. Find us on Google, Become Your Best Consulting. So once again, my name is Ralph Beltran, Become Your Best Consulting. I really like to thank you for your time and for joining me on this live training on social selling. Thank you and bye.